All right, we are not far from Joshua Ngannou. And I gotta say, I'm actually really looking forward to this fight. Now, some would say, gee, were you not already looking forward to the card? Because looking at the card here on BoxRec, I mean, it's not quite the day of reckoning. And in some ways, it's not quite Fury and Ngannou, because those cards were primarily, in fact, I think the Fury Ngannou card, other than one fight, which was the prelim fight, every other fight was a heavyweight fight, which just, that is just a recipe for success right there. Because you're guaranteed, we got loads of knockouts. The problem was with the Fury and Ngannou cards, many of you will know, by the time the co-main ended, which was which was Wadley versus Adelaide, I was well over an hour we had to kill before the main, which was absolute BS. The Day of Reckoning card had a bit more of a mixture, but it was primarily heavyweights. It was great. That's not to say this card is not good. It is. Jack McGann, I think he was on the undercard. I think he was the only fighter who fought on the Ngannou Fury card that wasn't a heavyweight. Yeah, I think that was him and all. Justice Hooney against TBA. TBA is Frank Warren's go-to. I can see his name associated with this, so of course TBA is going to make an appearance. Him and Frank Warren go back many a year. TBA, Frank Warren's go-to guy. So there's a few TBAs to be fair on this card, but Justice Hooney is a good Australian heavyweight. He's interesting. There's a lot to like about him. There's a lot to like there. Mark Chamberlain, Gavin Gwynn. I like that fight. I really do. The winner of that fight possibly could take on Sam Noakes. Sam Noakes is looking very good. Gavin Gwynn, I remember watching Gavin Gwynn against that Italian guy who was like 42-0, and I think he was in his mid-40s. That was a bit of a bizarre fight. That's going to be happening. That's a decent fight. Ray Vargas, Nicky Ball, need I say more? That's just a brilliant, brilliant fight. It's for Vargas' WBC featherweight title. Nicky Ball, 19-0. I was watching Ade's interview with Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, and he asked both promoters actually, other than heavyweights, if you could take someone from the other stable, who would you take? And Eddie Hearn straight away, Nicky Ball. And of course, why wouldn't you? He's not as... He's talked about, but he's not really known to the casual audience, if you know what I mean. Like, for example, you go back, say, 6-7 years. Myself and Ade were actually talking about this today. You go back 6-7 years, and someone of Nicky Ball's stature, in terms of not his height, I mean, in terms of like his profile, back kind of say when British boxing was really booming back in kind of 16-17, someone like that would be talked about a lot more than he is now. And bear in mind, you go back to say 2015, 16, 17, which again is kind of like the peak years of British boxing. You had people like Ted Cheeseman getting mentioned across. You had people like Sam Egerton, being talked about with Danny Garcia. Obviously that fight was a mismatch, but the fact that their names were kind of getting out there. Now you have Nicky Ball fighting for a world title, one of Britain's, top fighters, in my opinion, maybe not pound for pound, but certainly one of the top fighters with the potential to win a world title. And he goes under the radar a bit. It's a bit sad, and especially because he's not a boring fighter. I mean, this guy's all action. He really is. So Nicky Ball, I always look forward to seeing him fight. Him against Ray Vargas is a tremendous fight. Vargas, maybe Nicky Ball is catching him at the right time. I mean, this is a co-main event that, this is what you call it. This is a main event. That's a co-main, which is Zhilei Zhang, Joseph Parker. I was listening to Ade on his video saying that you can argue Zhilei Zhang's the third best heavyweight in the world. It's a major statement, but based upon what he's done recently, 2 wins over Joe Joyce, and arguably should have got the win over Filip Hrgovic, it's been impressive. And him against Parker, I'm really struggling with that one. It's not as simple as, well, Joe Joyce beat Joe Parker and Zhilei Zhang beat Joe Joyce twice, so therefore Zhilei Zhang should win. No, that's not how boxing works. I'm stumped, quite frankly, with that one. I really am. I'm stumped with that one. That one's really got me. So when I do a prediction video for that, it's gonna be a fun one. And I can probably say with no great degree of certainty who I'll pick in that one, really, because it's such a, you talk about 50-50 fights. That really is a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. And obviously Joshua versus Ngannou. Now, Joshua versus Ngannou, when it was announced first, I was kind of like, okay. I get it to some extent. It's a big money fight. You're not going to be fighting for a world title anytime soon, it would appear. So, yeah, for money reasons and stuff like that, why not? But ultimately, I just see it as being a bit of a gimme fight for Anthony Joshua. But the more I've thought about it, the more I've looked into it, the more I've kind of thought, okay, look, maybe in Ngannou, there is things he can do, and certainly I think Joshua going into it, from what I've seen in the face-off, is confident. He certainly doesn't appear to be a fighter who is really second guessing himself, is stumbling himself, is contradicting himself. That doesn't seem to be the case with Anthony Joshua, because in the past when he's done that, it's been kind of like, oh boy, what is going to happen on fight night? And we've seen some performances where, he struggled to really put his foot in the gas. Jermaine Franklin springs to mind. In this one, he seems in a much better place. Whether that's to do with the training with Ben Davison, whether that's to do with the fact that he had 3 wins last year, a good 2023, albeit the competition may not have necessarily been amazing, but the fact of the matter is he went through it completely unscathed. And he was able to see it off with a win over Otto Wallin, who is someone who went the distance and really had Fury in trouble. Different referee couldn't beat Fury. He was able to beat him, no question. So he definitely seems to be in a much better place at the start of 2024 than he was at the start of 2023 and of 2022. With that, I was thinking this might be a bit of a mismatch, but he seems to be taking this serious. And I think that Tyson Fury, and many of us, quite frankly, we wrote Francis Ngannou off. And we were made, okay, yeah, Fury won the fight. But we were made, I don't want to say, basically to look a fool, because he put Fury down and he won rounds. He didn't win as many as Fury did. Ultimately, I think the right man won, but he won more rounds than any of us thought he'd win. And the knockdown as well was a real, it was just one of those moments where you're like, did that actually happen? It did. So Ngannou going into this fight with Joshua, he's going to have a lot of confidence, even in defeat. And Joshua was alluded to that, even in defeat. This guy, no one talks about the fact that he lost, the fact that he was so good against Fury. He's going in here full of confidence. He believes he can hurt Anthony Joshua. He's very physically strong. He's got a very long reach. And these are things that Joshua will have to, I don't recall anybody being able to physically match Anthony Joshua. And I've always speculated that if someone could, maybe, i.e. when he was meant to fight Big Farmer Miller, that might pose him some problems. Well, in my opinion, he won't be able to outman Francis Ngannou, or certainly to bully him, because Francis Ngannou is absolutely massive. Fury couldn't do it, and I don't know if Anthony Joshua would be able to do it. The reach may be an issue. The punching power, it's still very hard to gauge the punching power. People say, oh, but Ngannou has this. Listen, if you took a journeyman, right, and you said, here's a static bag, right, you're gonna get you to hit it and measure your shot, right? I'm sure some of these journeymen who have loads of losses would hit it and you'd be like, damn, this guy has the hardest punch of anyone. But what's his record? 15-8 with 13 knockouts. Stopped 4 of those 8 losses. You wouldn't associate him with that. So punching power, to say Ngannou is the best, the hardest, no. I wouldn't go that far. The shot that he hit Fury with, if he'd hit Joshua with that, in my opinion, Joshua would have gotten up. In my opinion. It didn't look devastating, but saying that, thankfully, I've never been hit by Francis Ngannou. So I don't know if that could have been a lot more devastating. You'll have to ask Fury about that one. But it is growing on me, this fight. It definitely has. And I definitely think this is not a bad fight at all. I think it's a good fight. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a fun watch. It's on a Friday at the end of the day. It's not on a Saturday night. So, and again, with these Saudi cards, they're on at a suitable time for us over in the UK. If this was in the US, you're waking up at whatever time, UK time, or you're staying up all night. It's just not fun. And for me these days, I really struggle with doing the all-nighters. I don't know what it is, but I used to be able to do it years ago before I actually started. Before I started doing videos, I could do an all-nighter, no problem, to watch boxing. Now I'm like, nah, I'll do it in the morning. Unless I really know that it's going to be a big one. So for monetary reasons, yeah, I'll do it. But for the most part, it's just like, I can do it the next day and still do just as good with views and stuff. So that's kind of where we are with that one. But we don't have to worry about that. We can do the watch along. We can be done by midnight. We can talk about it after. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know your thoughts. Have you been someone who, since the get go, has felt, look, this is a competitive fight? Whether you love Joshua or hate him, you felt this is going to be a competitive fight. Are you looking forward to the card? I think it's a good card. Again, that is a brilliant. This show, I'm so serious. Like, that card is brilliant. And you would say, out of the few cards we've seen over the last couple of months in Saudi, that's the weakest undercard. And it's a brilliant undercard. But that goes to show how strong some of these Saudi cards are. At the end of the day, I say enjoy it while we have it. People saying, oh, but there's no atmosphere. Listen. We're getting undisputed at light heavyweight. We're getting undisputed at heavyweight. We've seen two absolutely fantastic cards that there is no hope in hell we would have seen had these fights been anywhere else in the world. This is probably not going to last forever. Turkey Al Sheikh, don't know how long he's going to be doing this for. Let us make the most of it while we have it. Because I guarantee you, let's say in 6-7 years, if this whole Saudi Arabian thing, this whole Saudi boxing is a thing of the past, people are going to be saying, oh, I missed those Saudi shows. Oh, weren't those Saudi shows great? Weren't they? Oh, they were. Oh, I missed them. Whereas now it's like, yeah, they're good, but the atmosphere, I don't care. What would you rather? I said it during, when they had the shutdown. Would you rather see boxing behind closed doors or not at all? I hated it behind closed doors, but I'd rather it that than nothing at all. That's what I would say on that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. Let's get the numbers going. We're nearly at 16,300. I'd like to get to 17k by the end of next month. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Let's see. I'll leave it there, people. Peace.